Hello again. Every cartoonist, no matter who you're talking about, will tell you they had something that initially inspired them to become a cartoonist or an artist. And this inspiration, whatever it was, is essentially what they will endeavor to have their own work mimic in their career. Whether they're doing it consciously or unconsciously, the things that they like most in the industry are what they're going to study the most, and as a result, that's what's going to come out of their own hands the most. But there's this strange obsession with aiming for hyper-realism in your works, even though the thing that you initially idolized and the styles that you originally admired didn't really go for hyper-realism. Everybody will push you the minute you try to become an artist to go for hyper-realism. And I say, yeah, that's a good thing to do. Go ahead and study hyper-realism. Try to mimic real-life animals, people, places, especially places. Really, like, looking at real locations and sketching them down and trying to ink them and make them look as real as possible is an excellent exercise. The locations especially, this is true. It's a good idea to try and study human figures as well, to try to make your characters look as close to real as humanly possible, just for the self-edification aspect of practicing art. But there's a strange misconception that happens, where when people see something that looks maybe a little bit cartoony, they think that that's the limit for the person's artistic capability. That's as good as they can do. Most of the time, this is absolutely false. Take Pablo Picasso, for example. You know, if you go and look at any of the videos that are here on YouTube watching him illustrate, you'll see he barely does any sort of serious detail in his illustrations. In fact, most of the time, his faces are just two circles and a slit for a mouth, and maybe a little dot for a nose. The shapes of his characters' heads are oftentimes just circles, so shapes that are so watered down it's ridiculous. And this man is considered a genius. But here's the thing, he can also do hyper-realistic illustrations, he just never did. Why not? Well, it's because he preferred to do things the way he was doing them. He preferred those kinds of art pieces. They were more attractive to his eyes. And apparently he wasn't the only one, because he sold quite a bit of art for a pretty penny, let me tell you. The reason I bring all this up is because I want to encourage you to not be pushed into doing styles of art that you don't really enjoy. There are different levels of hyperrealism, or different levels of getting closer to photoreal in your artwork. Comic book style artwork is actually not considered very close to photoreal, because even though the line work outlines realistic features and proportions and things like that, most of the time in these serialized stories, what people will nitpick at is the fact that it's cel-shaded, so in their minds it still looks different from reality. So essentially what the average person is asking you for, even if whether they know it or not, they're asking you for a painting, something that's fully rendered. When you begin to put into practice steps to develop your skill to eventually obtain the same skill level as the masters that you originally admired when you got into this field, every day it'll feel like you've learned a little bit more, you've gotten a little bit closer to your goal, and eventually you'll actually reach your goal. You'll get to the skill level you originally wanted to obtain, and it won't be enough. It never is enough, so you'll actually look beyond that a little bit, thinking that you're actually not very good. But really, you've obtained the exact skill level that you originally idolized and wanted to get to, and there are people out there who idolize that skill level of art as well. So you need to not take for granted all that you've achieved, but always improve. Never stop improving. That's very important, to constantly improve your art skills. I'm just saying don't take for granted what you've already accomplished and what you're able to do, because it's an absolute miracle to so many people. That's all I'm saying.